Well, this is April the 8th, and definitely the last time that I will film sap collecting for this year anyway. The last few days the trees have been producing quite well. The end of this particular video will show you the last boil and what I get out of it, I guess. Temperatures have been pretty much ideal for the last few days, but this weekend things are supposed to change. Getting some warmer weather, up double digits, 15 degrees or so, but also some forecasts of not going down below freezing at night, and it doesn't take much of that to bring an end to it. Since I moved those taps around, spiles around in the last video there, all 7 trees have at least been producing a reasonable amount. These trees would never produce enough to justify a commercial operation. I'm really not certain what the variety is, but they're not the rock maple or sugar maple. These last 4 taps here on these, well, basically I guess it's 2 trees close together here, they have been the best. Doing quite well. I have no idea what to predict that I'll get for an amount of syrup. I suspect a liter or less, but everything's dripping anyway. It looks like I'm going to get some. This one here is my only true sap bucket. Bit of ice in it there, which I guess is to be expected. It's still going below freezing at night, thankfully. That's what keeps this going. I'll get that one down out of there. Whew. Okay. That one is almost as full as it can get. A little bit more and it would be running out through the hole where I have it attached to the tree. Well, that's all 7 trees collected from. If I get another day or 2 like this, things should be pretty good, but I'll show you the final boil and what I managed to collect here. A 5-gallon pail is quite heavy today, so I thought for the fun of it I'll show you what I've collected today. Get this off without putting all that dirt down in there. Yeah, it's, well, I guess I would say it's 3/4 full. Get the gauze covering back on there before I have it full of branches and whatever on the way home. This is April 23rd, I think. Anyway, I was out yesterday and brought in all of my sap collecting equipment, and I didn't have the camera with me, so I sort of come out and staged something today to show you. I follow the fellow New Brunswicker, Trevor Fillmore, up in, well, further north in New Brunswick than I am anyway, and he has done these videos in the past of collecting sap and making syrup and all that good stuff, and he joked with me earlier this winter when I put these spiles in the trees. He said, when you go back to get those this spring, you'll never be able to reach them. And I thought, well, you know, there is a lot of snow. However, he was almost right. I was able to reach them, but just barely. If you've seen my previous, well, the previous clips in this particular video even, out on snowshoes and being able to reach them quite easily, because I was on snowshoes when I put the taps in. But I'll give you an idea of if I can stop shaking this tree that I got the camera attached to here, I'll give you an idea of how high up they are off the ground. That was the tap. What I reached up and got was the spile. I'm 5'10" or so, 5'10" and a half, something like that. I don't know. Standing on the ground, I just can reach, so that's over 7 feet anyway, up in that tree. Gives you an idea of how much snow was on the ground here this winter. It's hard to believe now that it's mostly all melted that we actually had that much. Well, this is the final boil. That saucepan, I'm not certain, I didn't measure, but it's probably not much more than a liter in there. That's after everything has been boiled down. And I tasted it prior to putting it on the stove here and getting it heated up. It has a very nice flavor and it's nice and sweet, but it is not maple syrup yet. It's very thin, so I'm going to boil that down by at least half and call it quits, I guess, whether it's thin or thick. I can use it, I'm sure, because it already has a nice flavor. So once it's boiled down, I'll show you what I get and what it looks like. I have a half-liter jar, canning jar, ready to put it in, but I'll be very surprised if it's anywhere near full. Well, I made a few crepes to try my maple syrup with, and I believe I've actually made maple syrup. This is what I got. That's still so hot I can hardly handle it. I'm just letting it hopefully seal. I did get the full 500 milliliter bottle. If anything, I may have boiled it a bit too long this time. A friend from Sherbrooke, Quebec, Pierre, visited not too long ago and brought me a can of Quebec maple syrup. And it is graded, like all Canadian maple syrups are graded. This is grade number 1, medium. And that's what that looks like, grade number 1, medium. So I don't know what to tell you that I have. Mine's much paler, but it's just almost as thick. And when I emptied it out of the saucepan, what was left in the bottom of the saucepan congealed, so you really had to scrape it off. So I think I finally have managed to cook it down long enough. This is just a little bit that was left over. I'm trying to let that bottle seal, as I said, so that, well, until I open it and use it, it won't need to be refrigerated, and after that it should be refrigerated. So I need some fresh grapes. I like that, it's a nice consistency. I haven't tasted it yet. I think it's really the first time I ever got the proper consistency. Before it was always a bit too thin. Oh yeah. I must say so myself, that is pretty good. I was a bit discouraged earlier, wondering if I would ever do this again, but it is, well, it's not work, it's a lot of fun doing it. But I think another year I'll be back out there again, hoping to get a little more out of it again, I guess, but season ended very quickly here. Very tasty. Well, thank you very much for watching, and if you live in a climate that's cold enough and you have maple trees, I hope you give this a try yourself sometime.